자들이 까테로차 나타렌나 시리무라 고르마무타세디 팔라호
Good evening to brothers and sisters from Singapore. Welcome back to lesson 4 of Gongchig by Khenpo Rangdol. We sincerely appreciate you coming back to attend the lesson today, although it's New Year Eve. Because Khenpo Rangdol has got lots of commitment, so we cannot afford to actually skip any of the weeks. So just bear in mind, regardless of whatever occasion, every week on Friday, we will definitely have the Gongchig lesson. So without further delay, let me invite Khenpo Rangdol. And before that, brothers and sisters, if you have actually accidentally pinned yourself, can you please don't pin yourself? Because once you start pinning, I cannot spotlight. So please come out from the pinning, and then we shall put the spotlight on Khenpo himself. So with that, we welcome Khenpo Rangdol.
Okay, let's see how it. Okay, I hope it should be okay. Is this okay, Jim?
Yes, Khenpo, managed to get rid of that message too.
Oh, that's wonderful. The bit obstacle. We need some obstacles for the Dharma sometimes in order to have some.
Yes, Khenpo, especially on a special occasion like this.
Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, so now I shall start the teachings. Oh, Minjogi, doesn't sound good. Razem Jogo was done. So I love it. I love it. Dadolore Rondaman's Mount of the Jagat. Kongi Tani Yamerin Jambajiden, someone Java on the Wawan Pari and the Wadan, Tommy in Jolan Jagger. You and then Wadan Shaggy all as the General Chongin and Baguja. Okay. Very good evening and good afternoon and good morning. So today is I think our
下午晚上好，这是我们第10堂课。首先
12 a.m. it will be the new year
Thì chúng
20.
ta sẽ chuyển sang năm mới năm 2022.
Start our
2022 comenzaremos.
Send my sincere greetings Tashitalek on the occasion of New Year, and then also tomorrow, day after tomorrow. After tomorrow is also Ladakhi New Year. Actually, the first day of the lunar calendar, Ladakhi, as well as also the part of the Himalayan region, such as certain places of Nepal, and also in Tibet, like Khenpo area. So many villages also they celebrated the New Year. They call also Sonam Losar. So there's 2 occasions coming very soon. So I would like to really send my sincere greetings to all of you, and also I would like to request each and every one of you, we should start. We have to welcome this new year with the pure intention, with pure motivation. I think that's some kind of echo is coming, James. Is something problem? My own. Is it okay? Can you hear? There's some kind of like echo is coming with me. I don't know. Okay. So it is very important that we have to begin with pure intention to welcoming the new year. That's very important. The motivation is very important. Actually, I already shared a YouTube video message to our Ladakhi Dharma brothers and sisters just 2 days ago. It's quite a number of the people already watch it. I think a few thousand people already watch it within 2 days. So many of them put also comments. They really appreciate. Actually, I focus on we have to welcome the new year with the kind of certain commitments that which we are going to do in this coming year. That is very important. So today is also very important day for everybody. It's a new year is also beginning very soon. So I'm sure many the events is conducting everywhere. So despite of busy the other programs, maybe I don't know whether I should say mundane programs or maybe holy program, whatever. So all of you also took your interest to listening to the Dharma. The last session was also on the Kismet Eve, and also today's session is also just beginning the new year. So it's kind of like very busy time. So I know people, you might like to hang around with your friends, but however, so many, quite a number of Dharma brothers and sisters joined for also program. And then also the people who already keep listening to the Dharma series, and then who missed the program, of course, they can always listen to the teachings later on YouTube or Facebook. That's also kind of other advantage of people who already, people who are going to miss due to some unavoidable some circumstances due to the new year. Anyway, so without taking much time, since we have very limited time, just I would like to begin with the actual text. We already completed till the 5th Vajra statements on the 2nd chapter about interdependent origination, which Tibetan we call Tendel. That's one of the very important, I mean, the topic according to the Buddhist point of view, interdependent. Everything is actually one of the teachings of Nagarjuna in the text of Letter to Friends. He mentioned that the teachings of interdependent is kind of like the treasury of the teachings of Buddha. So because all the teachings of the Buddhas are summarized into interdependent origination. So even the Buddha cannot go beyond the interdependent origination. So this is very important, the fundamental, the Buddhist, the view which we really have to understand deeply. So, so today, on the 6 Vajra statements, on the 2nd chapter, the others, the views is the people claim that the 12 limbs of dependent originations are complete in 3 parts of sessions. That's the others' view. Of course, I no need to tell the details about what are the 12 interdependencies. I'm sure many of you already knew about that. So regarding that, the 12 limbs of interdependent originations are the 3 sessions when they are divided into 3 categories. So many also the texts actually in the Abhidharma and also many others, the texts also mention quite in detail. So they are divided into 3 parts. The sessions of epileptic emotions, which we call that Nyomongpa. And then also the session is also kind of like the session of the karma. And then the third one is the session of ripening, which is we call like ripening means kind of referring to the fruit, the result. So the Nagarjuna also mentioned that how to divide these 12 limbs of interdependent into 3 sessions is okay, Marikpa, which is the ignorant, the first one, Marik, and then Seba Lemba, and then Ed, the craving, the Seba, and then also the grasping, these 3, the 8 and 9, and the first one belongs to the epileptic emotion session, which is the first sessions. And then the second one, which is the session of the karma or session of factor, or we can say also session of action, is the second one, which is the, sometimes we call that also actually the formative forces. Sometimes also we call formative conditions, whatever. And then the second one, and then the 10th one, which is the becoming one. That's also summarized into the second session, which is called the session of the karma. And then remaining other, the 7, the limbs of out of the 12 are actually belongs to the 3rd session, which is the session of ripening or sessions of fruit. So the masters or many people, they do believe that these 12 interdependent originations are divided into 3 sessions. So which means the first session belongs to the previous life. And then the second session actually belongs to the present life. And then the last session belongs to the future life. So that means the 12 links of interdependence are divided into the 3 lifetimes. So that's how most of the masters, they do believe. But it is very important that the Jiten Sumgon, his view is also, he do agree and he do believe like that. But what Jiten Sumgon, he tried to say in his view is that, he said that the 12 links of dependent originations are also complete in an instant. So of course, Jiten Sumgon also, he said that I do agree, and also it's divided into 3 sessions, and also it's divided into 3 lifetimes. But we should not only, I mean, kind of like the grasping on the particular kind of like the particular view, that we should not stick on that way. So despite of this dividing into the 3 sessions, which into 3 lifetimes, but the 12 links of interdependence is also completed within the single kind of like the activity in the text of Vasubandhu, which is composed by Abhidharma, which is composed by Vasubandhu. There also he mentioned very clearly, but I just don't want to go everything in detail. There also he very clearly mentioned that when we perform such activity, that kind of like killing or stealing or any kind of like negative the activity, within this activity of the killing act, so within that moment, so all the 12 interdependent originations are completed. That's the what Jigten Sumgon his view. But if we just wanted to look into very deeper way how these 12 links of interdependent are completed into that kind of like the single moment which we are the acting of the killing act. So at that time also we do have the ignorance. Without ignorance we cannot perform such a kind of like activity, and without then also the whatever we are the killing act itself is also the second the link dwelling. And then also that time that the person must have kind of like consciousness that having a kind of intention to killing. And at the same time also they are having a form and names, and then also the contact and senses and then grasping, and more or less in a very subtle way all these 12 links of interdependent are actually completed in the single moment. That's what Jigten Sumgon he tried to express. One we should not stick on particular I mean the view that our mind should have to be very flexible. That is the right from the beginning that Jigten Sumgon always try to mention, that our mind should not be focused on the particular view. So then we become some kind of like very how to say, like arrogant, or maybe sometimes also we just only become like, if we always try to stick on particular view, then our mind become a kind of like very narrow-minded. Then once our mind become a very narrow-minded, then we are not really ready to accept what other people are saying. So that is actually kind of like contradicting the practicing of the Dharma. So this is actually when we try to combine with our inner spiritual practices, that means is our mind always need to remain into the flexible way, and also we always try to respect to all the views of other masters. We not necessarily to believe on particular the view. We're saying that, oh, this is the only the view because my master said so. This is the only the path that somebody show it to me, somebody guided to me. If you just only try to stick on that, that is again, as the last time, as I mentioned, the I and my and mine is one of the biggest problem. You know, that's always gives us such a difficulties in this the samsara. So therefore, so that we have to know how these things are happening. So even the act of the killing act, so more or less, actually the 12 links of interdependent are completed in that moment. So I hope that's clear with you. And of course, if you want to go into detail, then also you have to go through the commentary, and then also in the future you can also study the Abhidharma. That they are also actually mentioned very clearly regarding this example of that killing act, how the 12 links are completed. But I can't go in very detail, and otherwise we have to stop on only one or two Vajra statement, and then which I'm going to lose my commitment then. So now the next one is the Vajra statement 7. The people claim that the different measure and the form of appearance of the realms of the world were taught without certainty. So that is what other people were saying, that according to actually many sutra, and also many tantra, and also in the Kala Chakra, and also in the Abhidharma, mentioned that are very in detail the different sizes of our universe, the shape of the universes, according to the tantra, especially according to the Kala Chakra, from the Tantra point of view, and then also from the Sutra point of view in the Abhidharma mentioned very detailed. Because I think the Abhidharma is the kind of the Buddhist, the cosmology. They are mentioned everything, that how our universe looks like, how our world is look like, how it's shaped, and everything is mentioned very in detail. So therefore, the masters or many people claim that there are actually the different measures and forms, like different forms, different size, different shape, different color. So that's and then also the measurements are actually the different size measurements. So these are the actually the exist, those are kind of like the size and measure, and then the different forms are actually exist as the taught in the sutra, in the tantra, whatever mentioned there, it is exists as it is way. Nobody can change, nobody can see differently. It has to be remain as it is, whatever taught in the text. That's what other people view. But the Jigten Sumgon, his view is that due to the dispositions of the mind, the appearances too are different. We not necessarily to only stick with the particular the view or particular explanation, whatever mentioned in the sutra or tantra or maybe any other masters. Actually, due to dispositions of our own mind, due to our different dispositions of the mind, we can see differently. Example, actually here, Dharmakirti also give the example of that how the due to the different the people, different sentient beings, how they can see differently. Also in the Chandakirti also mentioned in his the Madhyamaka, the text also mentioned the same the meaning. Example is that example like the water. We human beings, we see water as it is just water. It's just for drinking for us when we get thirsty. And then for the hungry ghosts, they can see the water as a kind of like blisters, some kind of like very rotten, some kind of like the blood or something. They can see like that. The blood streams, even then we see the river as it is, the water river, but the hungry ghosts, the sentient beings, they see as like a blood river or something like that. And then the goat beings, they see the water as a nectar, which we human beings, we don't see, but they see as a nectar. And then also the many of animals, particularly those animals who lives in the ocean, for them is water is their home. You know that we can't stay in the water, but then many like fishes and many others, the animals, they live in the water. So that means for them is the water is their home. And then hell beings, they see water as like a melting iron, like steel or something like, you know, that kind of. So due to the different kind of like our the karmic negative impact, and due to our kind of like that, whatever we accumulated the previous life, different kind of the karma. So due to our own karma, so mental projection, we can see differently. That's, I think, quite obvious, you know. We can see like, you know, sometimes also we, even like here who are participating in our teachings, I'm sure all of us, we have a different view. Maybe example, like some people might like, I'm wearing this cloth, some people like this one, some people like don't like. And then also maybe some people, you know, actually, whatever I'm wearing my glasses, some people like this kind of shape, some people like other kind of like shape, and some people like this food, which I like this food, maybe you or my friend, they don't like. So due to our own kind of like the mental dispositions of our mind, so we like differently. Whatever you see from your eye, which you like very nicely, very beautiful one, might other people, they don't like. So this is how clearly can prove that due to our mental dispositions of our mind, so the appearances also will be changed and we can see differently. That is, I think, quite very obvious. I also remember that one occasion, one of the famous the Tibetan masters, Jamyang Khenpo Wangpo. I think many of you heard about there are many Khenses, but the Jamyang Khenpo Wangpo, I mean, I don't know exactly, maybe 100 years back. So one occasion, actually, he went for pilgrimage to the Varanasi and Rajgiri and many other the Buddhist, the holy places. And when he reached at the Varanasi, in his appearance, he could see the Buddha was there, and then all the Buddha disciples are there, and Buddha is still there turning the Dharma wheel. So he saw like that in his vision. And then also when he reached at the Rajgiri, where Buddha Shakyamuni, he taught the second wheel of Dharma, he saw that whatever we see, that the mountain area, he didn't see like that. Whole the mountain area is the full of the noble texts, the scripture of the Buddha's teachings, like that, because he is a great master, he has a great vision, so therefore he can see very differently. I'm sure that many of you knew about late His Eminence Dwang Rinpoche, and especially Singapore people might surely know that, because Dwang Rinpoche, he conducted many occasions the Om Mani Padme Hum ceremony there in Singapore. I was told by some of my friends that who used to be a attendant who used to be an attendant of Dwang Rinpoche. And when he was sleeping, sometimes this Dwang Rinpoche, he called his attendant, and he just in midnight, he called his attendant, and then he was showing that, what did you see? Can you see there? There's a mandala, there's a Buddha, Bodhisattva. Might in Rinpoche, his view, he could see all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva, different mandala. So of course, the attendant, he since ordinary, the person, of course, he can't see. But Rinpoche, he called midnight, his attendant, and then also pinpoint, did you see this? So that's how Rinpoche is the enlightened one, because of his view, he could see, which we can't. So likewise, so we have to understand that due to our dispositions of the mind, the mental factors, so then we can see the appearances are actually the different one. So I hope many of you agree with Jigten Sumgon's view that so actually it is also important to know that is that when we talk about the others' view, of course, the some of the Vajra statements are actually particularly referring to some other texts from like Sakyapa and Nyingmapa or some other texts. But the most of the others' views it's just talking about general way that we do have also this kind of concept. In order to rid out of this kind of our conceptions, in order to understand in the deeper way, proper way, so then Jigten Sumgon how he explained. So we not necessarily to believe that others' view means somebody exists there. I'm sure among us, some of us agree with what Jigten Sumgon said, or might some of us also maybe agree with others' views. So you see different, again, again, as Jigten Sumgon mentioned, due to these positions of our mind, we can think differently, we believe differently, we see differently, we understand differently. So that is how the Buddha's teachings are actually how it was divided into the many different schools. As last time also I mentioned, according to the Uttara Tantra, I mentioned that when the rain comes from the sky, there's no differences. When it's landed on the earth, and then also it's become a different color, different water, different shape, different, the energies in the water. So due to when it comes onto the land, similar to that way, actually, due to our different dispositions of our mind, and we can see like that way. Okay. So now the third Vajra statements is, the eighth one is from the second one. The people claim that all happiness and suffering depend solely on the deeds of previous lives. Yeah, usually we do say, I also quite often I quote that the quotation, whatever we done in our previous life, we can see in this life. Whatever we done in previous life, we can see in this life. What will happen in next life, we can see in this life karma. Usually we always believe like that, whatever we done in our previous life. So that means if the present life is going everything smoothly, the proper way, so that means you done quite good in your previous life. If your life, everything always go wrongly, then might be you done in your previous life negative. We always believe like that way, I always quote like that. But so the people claim like that. The happiness depend on only depend on the previous life, the positive karma, all the happiness, all the suffering, whatever is experiencing in this life the cause are depending on our previous life. But the Jigten Sumgon, of course, he do agree that one, but it's not necessarily only like that way. So because Jiten Sungwan, the view is very holistic view. You know, the view is like he is also remaining in the space. When we stay in the space, when we look from the space, we can see whole view. You know, when we just stay in our own room, we can see only the roof. Apart from roof, we can't see anything. You know, so this is something like that. So when we fly in the sky, so we can see, when we look down, we can see the big view. So like that way. But the Jiten Sungwa, he said that the result of what one personally accomplish will be enjoyed in the presence. So meaning is like that it not necessarily always depend on the previous life. Sometimes also it's happened like that. We even within this our single lifetime, whatever we accumulated the karmas, we can also reaping the fruit will also come in this life. So here actually the Dharmakiti also the mention actually especially that especially that the master like that who just who just wake up from the samadhi of loving kindness, then if we make a offering to such a bodhisattva, and that the merit will become very powerful one. Therefore, I'm sure according to the Buddha's life story, so when Buddha Shakyamuni he did 6 years retreat without eating and without drinking, and then his body became a very weak. And then also when he came out from that kind of meditation, come abiding, and then also one lady offered kind of the milk soup, and then also she made a wish that the body color will become a like golden color, and then also because of since he just came out from the come abiding, the meditation stage, and then also her wish become kind of like fulfillment, you know. So then the body become really shining like golden shining color. So likewise, so that means that all the results, the results of what one presently accomplished with enjoyed in the present life is not necessarily to depend on the previous life. That's what Jiten Sungwan he tried to mention. And then also, I think these are quite easy, and these Vajra statements are actually connected to each other, linking Vajra statements. So, okay, now the 9th one is the people claim that the increasing and decreasing of lifespan arise by themselves, and that the methods of practice have no impact on that. I think we do agree also like that, you know. Many people, we do agree like that. Now this is the degeneration, this is the time of that such a like, what we call that, the 5 degeneration time, you know, like life is very short. People have always wrong view. Actually, there are 5 degeneration kind of like points are there. So many of us, we always believe that this is the now kind of such a like very bad time. Even we try to put effort, that accumulating merit, it don't become a better. So many people believe like that. I think I'm sure many of us who are present here, I think we also quite often we say like that, you know, this is the very time now, very bad time. So we can't change now. The world is like that. And then, so therefore, many people say that now the increasing and decreasing of the lifespan arise by themselves, that methods of practice have no impact on that. If you try to do good, if you try to accumulate merit, the lifespan it go on increase again. So and then if the people do try to commit non-virtue, even it go down immediately, but it will just decrease accordingly. So that's what people believe. but the Jigten Sungwan, he's saying his view is like that. It is totally depend on us. We cannot blame on somebody else. We cannot blame on time. You see, so nowadays we are facing lots of challenges in the world, such as global warming, melting glaciers, and untimely rainfalls, untimely flooding is coming. Why these things are happening? I'm sure these things are happening due to our human-made problem. Dalai Lama always said that human-made problems. Nobody did it. So we human beings, we consume more than what we need. And then also due to whatever our lifestyle, it costs a lot to the mother nature, then it's affect all these kind of like disaster things are happening. So if we try to reduce, if you try to live simply, if you try to, try to maintain on such a discipline, and then certainly many of these disasters will be disappear, and then everything will be come smoothly. That's, I think, quite sure. So here in the Dharma Kiti also mentioned that certain places, if the king or the president of the country is ruling properly, and then also all the people of that village or that country, and all the country is also running very smoothly because of the leadership of the king or president. If the president or king of the country are very wrathful one, I mean, he always try to commit it negative way, and then of course it impact a lot. You see, the one person can change the world, one person can actually change into positive way or negative way. Nowadays, of course, in this world we have the dangerous weapons like nuclear and so many things, you know, the atom bomb, I don't know what to call it. So therefore, so Jigten Sungwan said that the increase and decrease of the lifespan, if is possible even now, if you try to do in the proper way, of course, actually according to the Abhidharma, so I mean maybe hundreds, maybe 1,000 eons time, the people lifetime is 80,000, and then also is decreasing. And now attempts, actually we do believe that is now our human lifespan time is 100 years, and then also it will decrease, and then also it will come down to the people lifespan only 10 years. Then there maybe when we are 5 years time, maybe the people get married, maybe. So according to the Abhidharma, it says that then when the people lifespan comes 10 years, only the 10 years, at that time, the emanation of the future Buddha, the Buddha Maitreya, you know, so will appear, and then the one person there, that time actually the people height is only like maybe 1 foot, maybe little higher than 1 foot, you know, and that time the emanation of the Buddha Maitreya, one person will appear, and his height will be maybe double size than the one foot, maybe two feet, you know. And then people will raise up the question, how comes you are quite taller than us? How come you are taller than us? And then this person will tell, because I try to abandon of negative karma, which is killing. So therefore the height is much higher than you. So then all people also is convinced to abandon that kind of negative karma. So in this way, actually, again, the people lifespan will be increasing. And then when their lifespan comes till the 80,000 years, that time then the Buddha, future Buddha, the fifth Buddha Maitreya will appear, and then also he will turn the Dharma wheel. That is how, according to the Buddhist point of view, mentioned like that. Of course, we now don't have much time to say all
就是第五佛就会出现。
Actually, the Dharma Kiti also here got one.
Dharma Kiệt.
time, one
Trong cái
occasion,
giai đoạn trước đây thì cũng có một mọi người
live a very short time, and that time also the people actually the practices the 16 the pure the Dharma, and then also the people lifespan increase up to 500 years. So there was actually the story was like that. Okay, so now the next Vajra statement, the 10th one is the people claim that except for what is experienced during the present life as a result of acts in previous lives, and what is experienced many lifetimes from now as a result of previous and the present acts. The result of present acts do not arise as phenomena experienced in this present life. Actually, this is the exactly the similar as the eight Vajra statements, but this make more clear, I mean, explain into detail. So the many people, they believe like that whatever we experience during these lifetimes, that's the results are actually the edge of our previous life. And then whatever we experience in this lifetimes, in the present life, that kind of like the karma will experience in the future. But whatever we acts of present life won't be experienced within this lifetime. That's what other people the belief. So mostly also I think we also believe like that. Or if you want to have a better life in the future, so you have to accumulate good merit in this life. We always believing in the future, next life, but I think many of us, we don't believe if I do something good things, the fruit will come within this life. We don't believe. But the Jigten Sumgon said that, he said that the results mainly arise as the phenomena experienced in this very life. That's very good. Actually, so there are actually the four, the different way of experiencing the karma. That's the four types of the karma. The number one is the karma that the karma, the fruit will experience within the next life. That's type of karma. And then second types of karma is that it doesn't matter whether positive karma or negative karma, the result will experience life after life. So that means maybe distant life, we call like that, distant life. That is another kind of karma. And then one kind of the karma is that whatever we accumulated in this life, the result we experience within this life. So that is the third one. And then the fourth one is the karma that which the result is not certainty, whether it will appear or not. There's no certainty of the fruit. So that's there are four one. Regarding the first one, actually, if we committed like example like 5 boundless offense, example, if we kill our own father, killing on our mother, killing arahat, such as there are 5 boundless offense, which means there is a limited, very one of the heaviest negative karma. If we committed such a kind of like negative acts, then certainly that fruit will experience within the next life. It won't we don't need to wait for many lives, And then the second types of the karma is that whatever we accumulated karma, that fruit will experience in the any other kind of like the ordinary positive karma or negative karma, that the fruit will experience in the, much later, maybe 10 lives, after 10 lives, maybe 20, 100, or maybe 1,000 after lifetimes can be experienced, that kind of karma. And then the third kind of karma is that mostly, as I mentioned earlier, that if we make a offering to the like Bodhisattva that who just wake up from their samadhi stage, or maybe any kind of like arahat, that who just wake up from their samadhi, if we going to make some offering, the fruit will experience within this lifetime, because that kind of like merits are so powerful. So then the last one is uncertainty one, is that example, if we committed negative karma in this life, maybe our upper lifetime, earlier lifetime, if we committed lots of negative karma, and then later part of our lifetime, if we know that negative karma is not good, with your rugated, if you really try to purify all this negative karma, so within this lifetime, you can purify your negative karma. So that means you no need to experience you no need to experience the result of the negative karma, because you already clear away. So you already purified. So yes, that kind of karma is not certainty. So then, so this is the the four types of karma. But what Jigten Sungwan he tried to say is that there are actually the four types of the karma, but the result that mainly arise apart from those four types of karma, the mainly arise the phenomena experience in this very lifetime is actually mainly appear. So Dharmakirti also give one example. If you say that if somebody shooting arrow, oh, you are very good in shooting arrow. If you say to somebody like that, certainly other person will say, no, you are much better than me. And then same thing, you know, if you say, oh, you have wonderful haircuts, you know, maybe I don't have haircuts since I am a simple monk. Mostly, I mean, the people, they always talk each other regarding hairstyle, or maybe their ornaments, or maybe their clothing. You know, they have most of the people, they have a different clothing to wear different occasions, which we don't have. Maybe only this Dharma robe, yellow robe is supposed to wear certain occasion, that when we have some ceremony, teaching, or other than that, actually, we have always same clothes. We don't have, we don't make a simple discipline, make a rule, so then we don't have a choice to wear many colors, so that there's no way to no need to worry about your one is nicer than mine one. So, you know, so example, like if somebody say, oh, your hairstyle is nicer. If you say somebody, other person will, oh, your hairstyle is much nicer than mine, you know. All this, so you are good in cooking food. Might other, oh no, I'm not. You are better. I mean, the cook than mine. You know. So whenever we try to say good things to other person also react immediately. Something try to say good things to us. If we try to say something negative way, or you are, you know, whatever, it's kind of like rude things, or you are the bad person, whatever, and then other person immediately will react to us in the negative way. So that is the how this what Jiten Sungwan he said, that is the within this lifetime the karma, we no need to wait for next life. This is also the karma that if we try to say good things, and then also the reaction also, the feedback also will be getting very good one. So that's how Jiten Sungwan also mentioned. And then also one occasion, there's one king at the time of the Buddha, because he didn't understand about the karma that which the fruit will experience within this lifetime. And then that king actually asked the Buddha, what is the types of karma that the fruit will experience within this life? And then Buddha said, you know, Buddha Shakyamuni, he said to the king, so if one of your attendant, or one of your servant, you know, one of your servant, if he or she, maybe he become it could be that time, there's no none later on, if he become a monk, still you are asking for service from him? Then the king said, no, if he become a monk, then he is the, he has to sit higher than me. Then of course we pay homage to him. So I won't ask again service from him. Then Buddha said, this is the karma of the example which we experience within this lifetime. Okay, so I hope you understand clearly. So now we jump to the next statement. Now the 11th, the Vajra statement is, the people claim that the 16 pure, the courts of men and so on are the courts of men, and that the divine courts different from them. So actually we call, in Tibetan, we call Hacho. Hacho means actually the divine dharma, actually divine dharma. So because here say the courts, usually we don't use much that words. The divine dharma, and then also another one is like human dharma. So there's two types of the dharma, what we practice is. And then many people believe that whatever the 16 pure, the dharma or courts are actually top of the 10 virtue. I'm sure many of you already know the 10 virtue, 3 from door, 4 from the speech, and then 3 from mind, actually altogether 10 virtue. And then top of that, and also we respect to our father, respect to our mother, and respect to the monk or nun, and then also we respect to the elder one, the 4, and then and also respect to the Barmin, you know, that we call Damze Barmin, and then also we keen to practice the generosity. So that means the six. So top of the 10 virtue, if we add those 6, and then it's become a 16, the human courts or human dharma practice. So many people think these 16 dharma courts, which we always pay respect to our parents, pay respect to our father, pay respect to elder people. These are the just human dharma. Nothing. These dharmas are nothing to do with the divine dharma. So the people believe that is the divine dharma is the cause to achieve enlightened mind, and then the dharma or human practice is only just for only maybe within this life or maybe for the higher realm, not cause for the enlightened mind. So that's what people believe. But again, the Jiten Samgon, since he don't want to go beyond the nature, because the virtue or non-virtue, the nature-wise, same. The divine virtue or human virtue is virtue, you know, so we cannot make a difference. Of course, like example, the water is water, but we can say, of course, maybe water from Vietnam, water from Singapore, water from Himalaya. We can name maybe thousands different ways, but the nature of the water is water. So we cannot make separation of its nature. That's how we have to know the meaning of. So therefore, all this, the Gongchig, the Vajra statements are actually not beyond the Vajra statement of the very first the Vajra statements. Now I can't remember to say, but actually it's actually the first Vajra statements is very, very important, which pervades to all the others, the Vajra statements. Jiten Samgon, he don't go beyond the nature. So everything has to be under the banner of the nature. That is very important. So the 16, the parts, codes of the human beings are so on, are divine codes have the same vital point. Actually, of course, the name-wise, they must be different, but the nature-wise, we cannot make distinctions. So even the Dharmakirti also, he mentioned that the human, the virtues or 16 human virtues are actually like foundation stones. If there's no foundation stones, we cannot build the higher one. So therefore, depending on the human, the 16 dharma, then also we can accumulate it, the divine one, then maybe then higher, and then also example like depending on the Vinaya, the Pratyeka Moksha vow, and then we can arise Bodhisattva vows. Once we arise Bodhisattva vow, then we can also arise the Tantra vows. And within the Tantra also there are many higher categories, so which are depend on the below ones or previous ones, like same as like the staircase, you know. So when we wanted to go upper storage, And then we have to depend on the lower stages. Otherwise, we can't jump directly there. So that's how the Jigten Sungwan he mean to say like that. Okay, now the 12th, the Vajra statement is, the people claim that since the period of results within the 10 times 500 years of the teachings has already passed, after that it does not occur that one obtains results. This is actually related to the length of the how long the Buddha's teaching will last. But there are actually, according to the many like the experts, actually there are different the way of saying. Some say Buddha's teaching will last for 1,000 years. Some say Buddha's teaching will last for only 500 years. Some say Buddha's teaching
años, otro por 1500 años.
Buddha's teaching will last for 5,000 years.
Số người nói thì rằng là giáo pháp của Đức Phật sẽ kéo dài trong 5.000 năm.
千年等，所以有很多不同的说法。
Said that actually those are divided, but now I just don't want to go into the detailed way. Actually, the 5,000 years are actually divided into the different the period of year. We call that the period of the result, and then also the period of actually accomplishment, and then also the period of training, and then period of only just mere sign. There are actually the four different way to divide it, this 5,000 years. So the first 1,500 years is the most of the people believe the period of the 1,500 year is the time for the period of result. Only those time that people will get the result means some people who practices like what do you call that, Shavaka, what do you call that, the lower vehicles, they will get the result of arhatship, and then maybe the Bodhisattva, they will also reach the fully enlightenment one. Only those period of time the people will get the results, and then the later parts of the other the remaining years. So even people try to practice as much as possible. They just only accomplish certain way of the position, certain way of the quality, like samadhi or certain kind of like wisdoms. Then even they try to put lots of effort. There's no way to achieve enlightened mind. That's what other people believe. But the Jigten Sungwan view is that except for the predominantly the greater and the lesser numbers, the obtaining of results continuously occurs. That's the what Jigten Sungwan he view. The number more or less, maybe the first 1,500 years, that time might be many practitioners will get achieve maybe the result. Example, like when Buddha Shakyamuni, he trained the first Dharma wheel at Varanasi for the retinue, 5 Sangha. And then immediately at that time, some of them got arhatship, some of them got certain kind of like stages. I mean, the most of they already, I mean, they achieve certain kind of stages because of that, we call that is the period of the result, period of fruit or whatever. So what Jigten Sungwan is saying that only the number might be different. Maybe those days or those years, the most people get immediately the results. But even nowadays, if we try to put our effort, and as like the Milarepa, so Milarepa, he just only much later after Buddha Shakyamuni passing away. So we always believe that Milarepa is the one of the great, the yogi example that who achieved enlightened mind within this lifetime. So maybe even nowadays there are actually very few the practitioner who can achieve enlightened mind, but there are actually some.
Mặc áo vào, mặc quần vào.
I'm sure nowadays many of you might have seen nowadays on the social Facebook, that nowadays many great master in even in the Tibetan Buddhism, many of like great practitioners are there. When they pass away, their body become a rainbow body. I'm sure many of you have seen. And then also sometimes also the great master, after they pass away, they remain into the meditation state for maybe more than a month. And then also some of after pass away, their body become their body shrink and become a very small size. And some of their body totally disappearing. So that kind of still we could see in our present lives. There are actually the many great master, even in like Ladakh, we have a like great master of like His Eminence Choje Togdan Rinpoche. He's a great treasure master. He has a footprint and handprint on the rock, even present lifetime. So this kind of great masters are still exist on this present life. So we cannot, just totally agree that the fruit will be only obtained those years. So the more or less, greater or less number, but still we can obtain the result, the fruit. That's what Jigten Songgon is the view. Milarepa also said, if you try to dig on the earth, the water will come out from the earth. If you try to dig, so if you need to put effort to do that. So similar to that way, if you try to put effort to achieve something, you will achieve Buddhahood within this lifetime. You don't need to worry about this is the lifetime of only degeneration time. You don't need to worry. It's totally depend on how much we put efforts into our practices. That is but since we are, even nowadays, because of this digital world, we always, our time is actually wasting time by this digital world. Anyway, okay. Now the 13 Vajra statements is, the people claim that within the three training, the superior training of the discipline conduct precedes. So that means the in order of the three training, which are like morality, and then what you will call the second one is like samadhi one, and then also third one is the wisdom. This we call the the training. So that most people, they believe is that if we manage to practice the moral discipline, and then also based on that morality, so we can do this contemplation, which we call the samadhi, will arise depending on the moral discipline. And then because of moral discipline, then we can also easily do the contemplation of the samadhi practice. And then if we have this samadhi, and then also the wisdom, we call it also what you call it, insight or something, that will also arise depending on the contemplation. So most occasion or most people, they do believe the order of these three trainings are the moral discipline, and then samadhi, and then wisdom. This is the only way to arise those three trainings. But the Jigten Songgon, he said that, of course, that is also true. Some people also, as they engage into the practice of Vinaya, who took the Vinaya vows, and then because of that, also they can practice meditation, and then also can achieve the wisdom. That's also true, but that's not only that we should not stick on that kind of like extreme. There are actually the case that what Jigten Songgon said, that it's also occurred. The meaning is very important. That also means the believing that others view, what other people believing that the orders of the three training, believing that's the way. Jigten Songgon said it's also occurs the superior training of discriminative knowledge precedes. The meaning is that we not necessarily to always believe on that particular angle. There is actually also occasions. So first, the wisdom will appear, and then because of wisdom, and then also after that samadhi and moral discipline can be also occur. It's not the order is there's no fixation of the three training order. Example, the Jigten Sumgon he said. Jigten Sumgon he said that in Jigten Sumgon in his case, he became a monk age of 35. When age of 35 years, he took the fully ordination. He took a full like bhikshu vows. So before that, he didn't take the ordination, the full ordination. But much earlier than that age, so Jigten Sumgon he already got his enlightened mind. He already got the full inner realizations. But after he achieved enlightened mind, and then Jigten Sumgon he took the ordination much later. And then there are actually the many the case of the examples like that. After there are some cases of certain arahat, and then when Buddha Shakyamuni he give Dharma teachings, just listening to Dharma teaching, certain practitioner they already achieve arahatship, and then after that they took the Vinaya vow. So that means the after achieve the wisdom, and then after that also many occasions they took the Vinaya vow. So that means the order is not certainty that the training order. So therefore Jigten Sumgon said that it's also occurred that the superior training of the discriminated knowledge will be preceded. That is how Jigten Sumgon he explained. And now the 14th, the Vajra statement is the people claim that the one practice all stages of the teachings and the path in succession. Okay, this is again. Many people they believe like that. There are actually different sessions. Means like when we enter into retreat. Actually, some people they just do only 2 sessions, morning session and afternoon sessions, and some people practice as like 4 sessions, 2 sessions before lunch and 2 sessions after lunch, and some people they make 3 sessions before lunch, 3 sessions after lunch into 6 sessions. That is depend on the practitioners. There are 6 sessions, 4 sessions, or 2 sessions. So what people are believing is like that. Example, when we engage into retreat, example, we need to practice the preliminary practice. Example, we need to do first 100,000 prostration. Then after that, 100,000 Vajrasattva mantra. After that, 100,000 offering mandala. After that, we have to practice 100,000 Guru Yoga. So these are the procedures. So many people think that, if we complete 100,000 prostration, and that session is over. Then when we comes into the second session, we can just forget about the first session of the prostration. And then when they reach the third practices about offering mandala, then we just can ignore about the practices. So like that's how the people believe. But the Jigten Sumgon he said that. But of course, it is important that we have to focus on the particular the practice where you reach, but we cannot ignore all others, the previous the practices that which we already have done. We have to more or less within the one session we have to practice all the all others the practices. Here you see the one practices all stages of the path in each single session. Example, if we already completed like 4 outer preliminary practice, outer preliminary practice are such as like 4 thoughts, 4 foundation practices that we call 4 foundation is the outer preliminary practice, and then the prostration, Vajrasattva, etc. are inner preliminary practices. So if you already completed the 4 outer preliminary practice, if you are now practicing the prostrations, but you cannot ignore the 4 outer preliminary practice, but before you start your actual practice of the postation one, you have to practice the reflecting on the, what you call that, precious human life, reflecting on impermanent, reflecting on the falls of samsara, like that's for foundation. We have to reflecting on those, the teaching is very important. So therefore, Jiten Sungma, he said that we have to practice within the single sessions, all other practices. But of course, we no need to practice, we know, maybe let's say, if we, one session, the time is for maybe 3 hours, then maybe 2.5 hours we have to spend to the actual practice, what we are practicing currently. Maybe half an hour, we have to just go through all the previous practices that what we already have done. That is how we have to include it into the single session. So that means all the practices we have to inclusive. One should not exclusive those practices. Otherwise, again, we will there is chances to get some faults if we lack some of practices. Example, impermanent. If you lack of impermanent practices, might you will arise your attachment like that, you know. Okay. Now the last the second chapter, last Vajra statement, the 15th one is, okay, the people claim that not more than one single Buddha arises in the single Buddha field. So that's actually one of the Tantra also mentioned, actually, one of the Tantra teaching also mentioned that in the one universe, there will appear only one Buddha. No more than one Buddha will appear at the same time. There is one quotation in the Tantra mentioned like that. So to taking that reference, so many people think that only one Buddha will appear on this planet. Cannot be 2, 3, or 100 or 10,000 Buddha, but they just fix on that kind of view. But the Jiten Sumgon, he said that many Buddhas appear continuously in a single Buddha field. There are actually there are many stories, but I just don't want to go in details, because the Buddhas, we cannot make a kind of like a limitation to the Buddhas, you know. So the Buddha, or the original of the Buddha, is actually the nature of mind. We cannot measure our mind. How the size of mind can we? We can't actually. We can't measure our mind. How mind is big or something similar to that way. Actually, actual Buddha is Dharmakaya. So we cannot measure how size of the Dharmakaya. We cannot count how many Dharmakaya there are. We cannot. So therefore, we cannot. We cannot make a justification of there will be only one Buddha in this field. So because all the Buddhas are like a space. The Buddhas are like a space. So therefore, we cannot make that kind of like a judgment. There are actually the many examples that when Buddha Shakyamuni, he taught the Dharma, so many other Buddha who came from the other fields, other pure lands, the Buddha will present during the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni. There are actually some the quotations like that way. So that is what the Jiten Sungmun he tried to say. So Jiten Sungmun also said that there will be only one Buddha at the same time. The Buddha, like Buddha Shakyamuni, who show the 12 activities. You know, Buddha, he appeared on this planet, and then also he performed 12 kind of activity. That kind of Buddha will appear only one, but other Buddhas also will appear everywhere, every 10 directions. You know, so whenever we pray, we always pray to the 10 direction Buddhas in Bodhisattva. We usually in our daily life, daily prayers, we always include like that way. So that is actually now we completed the second Vajra statement, second chapters. Now I just would like to begin with the third chapter, which is the Vinaya. Pratya Moksha, Vinaya mainly. But here, some of the Vajra statements are very, very interesting in this Vinaya chapters. Usually, we always think that the Vinaya is only for monks and nuns, nothing to do for lay people. But the Jiten Sumgon, he said that the Vinaya rules are actually not only designed for monks and nuns. If you lay people also practice, you will also receive the benefits. It's not only designed, but that the reasons will explain later parts of the Vajra statements. You will come to know that's the kind of maybe very exciting one, or maybe very, I don't know, maybe exciting one, or maybe some of you might be disagree, or maybe some of you might be not happy about that, because sometimes we think that, oh, I'm a not monk or nun, I can smoke, I can drink. We allowed to do anything because we are not monk. So that the people who have this kind of like strong determination, like that kind of fixation, so for them it might be the Jiten Sangwan teachings will be disappointed. But anyway, later on it will be explained accordingly. Now the Vajra statements, the first one from the third chapter, many people claim that the Vinaya basket that is excellent dharma of others belongs to the Hinaya. I think these are the quite, we no need to explain in detail, quite easy, because I think the period of time of Jigten Songgon, I guess, not only that time, I'm sure nowadays actually some people, they do believe, oh, we are the practitioner of Mahayana. We are practicing Vajrayana. Those, the Vinaya, the rules are only for the Hinayana, the practitioner. The Vinayana are the design for the Hinayana, so we no need to practice. I think many people, they think we are the superior practitioner. So this is the only, the Vinaya is the only design for the lower, the capacity, the practitioner. So they, let them practice the Vinaya. We are the practitioner of Mahayana and the Tantrayana. So I think many of the practitioner, maybe during the time of Jigten Sumgon, or maybe even nowadays, there are many like that. So therefore, that only belongs to the Hinayana. So we no need to, nothing to do. We just have to ignore the Vinaya. But the Jigten Sumgon said that the Vinaya is common to all the vehicles. It's common to the Vinaya, it's common to Bodhisattva, it's common to Tantrayana. This is the same as, like, remember in the first chapter, Jigten Sumgon said that the 10 non-virtue is same as abandonment into the all three vows. Remember, it's exactly, there are many, if you know the one meaning of Vajra statement, it's really connected to the others Vajra statement in a very deeper way, you know. So there's a big connection. So the Vinaya is common to all the vehicles. So the reason is that because in the Vinaya, it's clearly mentioned that how Buddha Shakyamuni, example, how Buddha Shakyamuni, he generated bodhicitta, it's also mentioned very clearly in the Vinaya. And how the Buddha, he practiced the 6 paramitas during his the lifetimes, like we call that 500, we call that 500 excellent, he reborn into different form. So then where he accumulated all the merits are explained very in detail in the Vinaya. And then also how Buddha, he achieved enlightened mind, also clearly mentioned in the Vinaya. So that means, since all these are clearly mentioned in the Vinaya, how you can say that Vinaya is the only the practice of the Hinayana or lower vehicle. So that's the thing. And then now the next one is actually, again, is the first Vajra statement. It makes more clarification in the second one. The many people claim that the Vinaya is not Mahayana, since it is only ascending as the lower vehicle. Then the Jiten Sumgon said, it is obvious that the Vinaya is even more present within the Mahayana. So it's like some people say like, oh, this is only the Hinayana, nothing to, this is not practice of Mahayana, we just can ignore it. But then Jiten Sumgon said that it is more, the Vinaya is the more presence, is more clearly mentioned, well explained in the Mahayana. So then we cannot just, we cannot ignore, as I just mentioned earlier, how Buddha generated Bodhisattva, how Buddha, he practices during the lifetimes of the Bodhisattva, everything mentioned clearly in the Vinaya. So how you can say that it's more clearly the Vinaya also mentioned. And then also, Atisha also mentioned, the procedures are same, like example, if the Mahayana, when we generate the Vinaya vow, and then like Theravada, when they generate the Vinaya vow, the procedures are same, but the way of the motivation is different. That's what Atisha mentioned. If you generate, if you take the Vinaya vows in order to achieve yourself just only Buddhahood, so that means the intention is very lower capacity. So that means you belongs to the lower vehicle. If you are taking the Vinaya vow in order to benefit for all mother sentient beings, and then that kind of like Vinaya turn into Mahayana Vinaya. So only the difference is with the whether you have that kind of intention, the mind is not. That is the differences. Now the third one is the Vajra statement is the people claim that the disciplines conduct of the training in rejecting and practicing is the dharma of Shavaka. Again, this is the same as like it's all this the Vajra statements are very much connecting each other. It's just making more well explained. And then many people think that, oh, in the Vinaya, there are many disciplines that some disciplines are actually which we have to reject it, like some kind of like downfalls. We call downfalls like many rules which we have to reject it. And then many of the rules that which we have to practice, we have to accept it. So those kind of the practicing of the rules and then also rejecting rules are only dharma of Shavaka. Shavaka means like Hinaya or lower vehicle, nothing to do with the Mahayana practices. But again, same as before, the other Vajra statement mentioned Jiten Sumgon. He said that all of the precious disciplines conduct is the gnosis of omniscience. It's become more clear, the previous, the Vajra statements is making much more, go into deeper one. Remember, the previous one is said that, oh, the Vinaya is common for all the vehicles. Remember the first one. And then second one said, oh, it's in the Vinaya is more well explained or more present in the Mahayana, is mentioned like that, So now the third one is saying that the Vinaya is the embodiment of the gnosis of Buddha. Gnosis means like wisdom of Buddha. You see, it's becoming like more. He's saying that all the precious disciplines, the conduct is the gnosis of omniscience, the omniscient that Buddha. So regarding that, I remember one very important quotation. I'm sure many of you who already visited here at Dehradun, our monastery, at the entrance of the monastery door, there is a one quotation from the Jiten Sumgon is placed on that just front of our main temple. So that's one of the very important, the Jiten Sumgon, his teachings. What he says is that okay. The meaning is that Thatu Sangye Chogyuku means the ultimate Dharmakaya is, he said that the ultimate Dharmakaya is the 10 power, which is 10 power is the quality of the Buddha, which he endowed, the 10 power of the morality, moral disciplines. So that means the 10 power is the wisdom side, the morality is the method side. So the ultimate meaning is that the wisdom and then morality is the embodiment. That's what Jiten Sumgun he mentioned, and he said, "This is I'm saying to my the followers, my disciples, and this is my heartfelt advice to you. So you have to know that the morality is inseparable with the 10 power of the knowledge. So that clearly shows that is the knowledge, or knowledge means the wisdom or gnosis, whatever we say. So is the inseparable with the morality. This is the one of the very important. Later on, also it will come the chapter. So this is also one of the very important. So we cannot separate it, the wisdom, and then also this. We cannot separate it, the wisdom and this one. And then also, one occasion, there was a debate between Milarepa and some expert, the masters, and then the master, actually one philosophical, the one master asked to Milarepa, what is the meaning of Vinaya? Then Milarepa said, I don't know the literal meaning of the Dulwa, the Vinaya, but if we manage to tame your mind, if you manage to subdue your afflictive emotion, that is the ultimate meaning of the Vinaya. So once we manage to tame our negative mind, then of course that is the not other than wisdom, not other than omniscient one. So that's very clearly shows, isn't it? So according to the Bodhisattva path, when we practice the 6 paramitas, without the wisdom, all other 6 paramitas we cannot even name as a paramita. Only once we manage to combine with the wisdom, then we can call as a paramita. So without wisdom, he said that if there are like 500 blind people, we cannot go any direction because the people have no eyes. But the one person can lead the path of that 500 people to the right direction. So similar to that way, the wisdom can lead all other the practices into the path of enlightened mind. So that means there is a very close connection between the morality and the wisdom or gnosis. Okay, and also mention, it is also very interesting. All the teachings of the Buddhas, when it translated into Tibetan from Sanskrit into Tibetan, and then all the translator of the Tibetan translator those days, when they translated the Vinaya, at the beginning of the prayer, all the texts, each of the texts has the prayer composed by the translator. In all the Vinaya texts, they always put I homage to the omniscient one, Buddha, if the text belongs to Vinaya. If the text belongs to the sutra, and then the translator, they put at the beginning, I pay homage to Buddha and Bodhisattva. If the text belong to the, what do you call that, Abhidharma, and then translator, they put the prayer is, I pay homage to Manjushri. But I don't want to give all other detail, but reason why the translator put, particularly on the Vinaya, that I pay homage to the Buddha omniscient one, the text which is belong to Vinaya, because the reason is that the subtle meaning of the Vinaya is only can be understood by only the Buddha. No other than Buddha can understand very subtle the meaning of Vinaya. So therefore, all the great translators, they pay homage to the omniscient, the Buddha, at the very beginning of that, when they were translating. So that's very clearly shows that the morality is the embodiment of the gnosis, the wisdom. Okay, I hope you understand. Now the fourth Vajra statement is the people claim that the vow do not arise for those who possess impeding qualities. Okay, actually there are actually the four different kinds of impediment. Like impediment means actually the obstacles. First, we call that the impediment of arising the vows. That in the obstacle to arise the Vinaya vows. That's the number one. And then second one is that impediment of the existing arising vow. Existing means to remaining on that, the keeping the vow, the obstacle for keeping the vow. That's the second one. And then the third one is that impediment to the obtaining the precious, the quality after we took the vow, and then we need to gain certain kind of knowledge, certain kind of quality. That is the third one. And then the fourth, the impediment is that the impediment to the purification of the vow. Okay, so I just explained all of them little by little. The first one is the impediment of the arising vow means, example, if somebody killed their father, somebody killed their mother, or maybe some people that they always changing their gender, I mean, by their nature, sometimes the people they changing their gender. So that kind of positions, then he or she cannot obtain the Vinaya vow. That's the kind of the obstacle to arising the vow. That's the one. And then the second one is that if we, without getting a permission from our parents, let's say, without permission from our parents, if we just run away to become a monk or nun, maybe then later on when your parents get to know that you become a monk or nun, and then might be your parents will come to that particular, the monastery or nunnery, saying that my son or my daughter went to become a monk or nun without getting my permission. Now I just want to bring back them to my home. So then you cannot remain in the monastery or nunnery since you don't have, that's also kind of obstacle, So that's we call this the impediment of existing. You cannot keep your vow as long as you want, because your parents might be. Another very interesting thing, in the Vinaya mentioned, let's say if the parents came and he just tried to, hold their son or daughter wanted to take back from the monastery to their home. And then in the Vinaya said that other hands have to keep by their colleagues, by monks or nuns, they have to hold other side of the arms or hand, and then they wanted to, they have to say, no, he or she become a monk or nun with his or her, with his interest. Nobody forced him to become a monk or nun. So we want to keep him or her to our monastery. Then the parents will, I'm sure parents will say, no, we have only one monk, one son or one daughter. We just want to bring back to our home. If they're insisting like that way, if the son or daughter wanted to go back with the parents, and then he or she will say that then he might say, I have a very pain in my arms, and then just leave me alone or something. If he say from the other side of his hand, which is holding by his colleagues, that means he or she shows that he or she wants to go to the parent side. So then let he or her let him to go to their parents' place. That's what he mentioned. Okay, now the third one is that impediment of obtaining the particular qualities, that means if somebody become a monk or nun that who has no complete like our sense, like example, who has no eye, then of course who has no eye, they cannot read the text. Who has no ear organ, cannot hear the teachings of Buddha. That's the kind of obstacle, then cannot obtain the good qualities. Maybe just only stay in the monastery for a lifetime, but then cannot obtain all the qualities, you know. That's the kind of like the impediment, kind of obstacles. And then, and the impediment of the beautification, that's very interesting again, you know. It's very interesting. When you become a monk, there is one monk who is going to ask you many questions. And many questions, then also is mentioned like the one of the question is like that, is your hair is yellow? And we have to say no. The reason is that maybe those days in India, only the people have black hair. If maybe there was some case that some people who has hair is yellow hair, so therefore he or she become a monk or nun, and then people keep challenging on that, or people keep saying badly about that, or he or she become a monk or nun because of he or she has a yellow hair, so therefore he become a monk or nun, you know. So similar to that way, many others beautifications. If somebody has no one hand, then might say, oh, he has no hand, therefore he become a monk or nun. That kind of, I mean, people might say lots of gossips, you know. So therefore, it is quite important to us that during the time of the procedures, or when we are taking the vow. Okay? So now the Jigten Sangwan view is that all the impediments to obtaining the fruit. The Jigten Sangwan is saying that, okay.
There is some problem, Khenpo.
Now we are talking about obstacles. So there's some people try to make obstacles. they maybe unmute. So maybe that's good. So it's exactly time. We are talking about obstacles. Maybe not intentionally. I'm sure maybe they just sometimes they don't know the mic is unmute or maybe mute. Anyway, so the Jigten Sangwan said that all the impediments to the arising are impediments to obtaining the fruit. It doesn't mean that the people who has this kind of impediment, this kind of obstacle, still they will arise the vow. The meaning is that having all these kind of obstacles, the impediments, the people will not obtain the fruit within this life. That's the meaning of that impediment. That's what Jigten Sangwan believe. Even no matter what kind of impediments people do have, still they allowed to become a monk, they allowed to become a nun, they will receive the vow, but the only thing is that they will not achieve the fruit within this life. That's what meaning is saying. Okay, so here today I just would like to end my today's sessions here, and then once again I would like to say Happy New Year to each of you. Thank you very much for joining the teaching, and then just short prayer, then I would like to conclude our teaching session. Okay, thank you. Good night, good afternoon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Khenpo. Happy New Year, Khenpo. Happy New Year, all the organizer from Singapore. Thank you, thank you.
To everybody.
I'm very happy that I got to go.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Now you can join the party. But be aware of this. Still, the pandemic is with us, so you have to very careful when you are having parties.
Bây giờ thì cái dịch Covid thì vẫn còn tồn tại với chúng ta, cho nên là chúng ta phải hết sức thận trọng khi
Happy
Okay,
New
thank you.
Year.
Hello, sir. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Bye bye.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
The next
Happy
lesson.
New Year.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Dạ thì anh có thương nha.
My Happy
Tên
New
bà
Year
là
cake.
mẹ.
Good dinner.
Okay, bye bye.
See you. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.